Hi, this is Jacqueline. And if you've ever had a thought that when it comes to your emotions, you just kind of have to hold your breath and just get through them as best you can and just hope that someday maybe they're going to stop coming. This live is for you to check out. Again, my name is Jacqueline, and I am an author and a coach, super passionate about helping you shift from paralyzed to passionate, to take those areas where you're feeling stuck, especially if it's in relationship, and learn to use that relationship to help you actually trust yourself more deeply and your resilience. So, we're going to be exploring four ways today that our emotions really, really, truly can be our best friends. And know that I'm telling you this, or hearing this from a person who at one point really did hope that if she could just get through enough emotions, maybe they would stop coming. I felt like I was kind of negotiating with life that if I just dealt with enough emotions that maybe they would go away. But I've actually learned to see my emotions as such an amazing, super helpful thing. So I want to share four things that have really, really helped me start to embrace them in hopes that if this is something you struggle with, you can really feel set free around this a bit more. So the first one is that our emotions actually are great for showing us something called contrast. If you've ever looked at or read and done the work with Esther Hicks and Abraham, something that they teach through the law of attraction is part of how we determine what we do want is through contrasting experiences, which basically means when we have things that happen in our lives that we don't like, that actually helps give us information about what we do like and what we do want more of. And part of the way that we know I don't like this is we have a negative emotion about it, right? We maybe feel frustrated or angry. So, those having an emotional response to something and having especially a negative emotional response to something is actually just a great indicator that there's something that you want. And so by getting curious about oh my gosh, I don't like this doesn't feel good, sometimes what we can do is we can stop there and we can start to complain or just be like, oh, I wish this was different. But we can actually use that amazing information to figure out, oh my gosh, okay, what is this telling me that I do want? So, one reason is that negative emotions show us those moments of contrast where we can start to get curious about what we do want. So, think about that one. The second thing is that, and this is kind of similar, but I want to explain it in a slightly different way. When we have negative emotion, it's actually a great indicator that something inside of us has basically a need for nurturing or attention. Something that I talk a lot about is that when it comes to needs, we have our tangible basic needs like food and shelter and those kinds of things. But we have a lot of intangible needs like attention and appreciation, and there's a whole bunch more. And when we have a negative emotion, when we feel sad, when we feel frustrated, when we feel bad, that's often an indicator that some of these needs that are coming up for us want our attention. And so, in addition to just this idea of contrast, where, oh, hey, I'm getting more information about what I want, some of that information can also be what are my needs? What are the things that are really, really wanting my attention to feel nurtured and well? The third thing I want to remind you is that negative emotions are actually an amazing way to get information about what we care about and what we're passionate about, right? When we see something that we don't like, and this is really interesting because it can be pretty individual. We all have those things that when we see it, it's really upsetting for us, right? We're like, oh my gosh, right? I wish this was different. And the beauty is that for all of us as individual, we have different things where we're like, oh yeah, this, I wish this was different, right? Like I'm passionate about this. And so know too that your those triggers where we feel that negative emotion is actually just a wonderful indicator that we're passionate about something and that we care about that thing, and that could potentially be something to pay more attention to and to get involved with, or to really do something about. So, and then the fourth one, not the third one, the fourth one, is that getting to know our emotions actually just have helps us period, with expanding our ability to love. And I believe like we all want to give and receive more love. That's something that's super important to us as humans and just this natural drive we have. And what's really important to understand about ourselves as humans is that part of being human is that we have emotional responses to our life. I feel like I say this a lot all the time as I'm working with people, and I remind myself of this all the time, that part of being human is that we have emotional responses. And the more that we can embrace them, all of them, right? The sadness, the anger, like the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff when it comes to our emotions, the more that we actually feel more love and expand our capacity to love, because a huge part of what drives what we do are our emotions, right? So when we can embrace all of them, it makes everything easier. So those are my four reasons to really like embrace our emotions more, to come and appreciate them and see that they actually have so many gifts for us. And they really are, like I put in the title, like our emotions really are an awesome, amazing thing that just help us inform where we're needing more attention. So, oh, hi. Hi, thanks for stopping in. So, if you're at all feeling like if you're listening, watching this now, or you're listening to the recording, one thing that I will say is if you are wanting more help and more support from shifting from paralyzed to passionate, or learning to process your emotions and actually embrace them and use them to move forward, I have a course I'm offering right now called Paralyzed to Passionate. That's a 6 module series, and it does involve actually as well group live coaching class, as well as online, sorry, not online, but monthly calls with me as well. The topic, well, a lot of it is about shifting from getting from basically from paralyzed to passionate through the lens of your love life. So, understanding, and I can talk a little bit briefly about the modules, but the first module is going to be redefining our legacy of love for ourselves, starting to understand what we inherited for our vision for love and getting to recreate it. We'll also be talking about creating a foundation of safety for ourselves, and that will explore our nervous system a bit more and understanding how our body lets us know whether we're safe or not, which is such a big thing. We'll explore accessing unconditional love for ourselves, which actually that's a big piece that ties into the feelings and emotions we have and just understanding them more. And then one of the modules as well, we'll talk about freedom through control, which is helping us understand like the urge we have to control and what's underneath it, and how we can use that information to get to know ourselves better. And then we have a module as well on belonging and contribution, which I found are so helpful when we're wanting to build resilience and trust ourselves more and put ourselves out in the world in the ways that we want to. So, and feel free to, if you have any questions about what we've shared tonight, what I've shared in this video so far, or even about the course, feel free to drop it in. So, if I'll pause for just a moment if there's any questions that come into the chat. But as I do, I'll just wrap up those four pieces that you can keep in mind when you're having emotions and really wanting to embrace them. So the first is just understanding that when we have emotions, part of, or negative emotions specifically, what that's helping us do is develop a sense of what we do want, right? And it's doing it through contrast. By seeing what we don't want, it helps us understand more what we do want. And then our triggers, our emotional negative responses, they help us understand that we have needs inside of us that have nurturing, or that need nurturing and attention. So remembering that that's a really key part of it. It also helps us understand what we're passionate about, what we really care about, and ways we might want to be contributing in the world where we've been holding back from, but by understanding this more and more, it can actually fuel that desire to contribute. And then the fourth is just period, expanding our capacity to love. And the more that we expand our capacity to love, the easier it is to receive in general. Um, so it's been so wonderful sharing with you. As a final note, down in the description for the video, there will be a link to sign up for the course, as well as to my website, where if you're wanting to and you're interested in getting email updates and content and see what I'm up to, you can sign up for that as well, in addition to, of course, subscribing to my channel. This week, I'm doing a bunch of lives as I get ready to have the launch of Paralyzed to Passionate, but I'll be doing more regular videos just coming out in general on different topics. So, sending you all so much love, hoping that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.